This is a special video. You have to read the video. The message I'm replying to. I've got to make a whole episode coverage on this. NineIronCapital 1 hour ago. Friends, I'm telling you right now. I've read this post 6 times. I still don't understand what the hell he's talking about. So whenever I've had these before, it probably means it's come from a man who used to live on top of a sandwich shop. Quack, quack. Okay. So, PulseChain season. Question for PulseChainians. Why is a sacrifice ETH balance sitting on the ETH side of the bridge? Why not store that on a better network? You know what, bro? I'm going to actually check when this account was made too. All right, March 2021. You're all right. I'm telling you right now, man. I carry Spoonie in my underpants. Like I tell you, friends, I'm going to the shopping store. You know when you see those clothes on the clothes rack? I'll just randomly stab through it. Like I'm just that paranoid. I'm starting to see shadow people, okay? These can't just be coincidences, right? I'd be the worst guy to stalk for the CIA, by the way, because I literally just randomly turn around. You know what I mean? Like I just check, like, you know, I'm like, hey, that random spot in the wardrobe. Yeah, I'll just literally just go there. I'll give it a sniff. Someone trying to poison me? So he's asked, why is a sacrifice for Ethereum there? A gated EVM compatible layer 2 seems much safer. Okay, so we got to go through this one by one. Like this is groundbreaking. Okay, so where do we start? Look, remember PulseChain. PulseChain is a chain that exists. We forked from Ethereum. Richard Hart, okay, who used to live on top of a sandwich shop, we can confirm that. He did make a post, one post in 2022 when Gary Gensler's SEC was doing all the forgery and the scum and the fraudery to take down the crypto industry. And Richard Hart said, one tweet, I found the way to transfer value without selling coins or whatever. He goes, but I'm going to let the regulators shoot themselves in the foot first. Okay, so, and that's what he said. And he's never commented on it, ever. One tweet. So, we've all been speculating, what does he mean? What do you mean transferring value? You mean you can do something where you do an event? He's found basically a loophole. There's a loophole to do something where I guess you can avoid a taxable event, and that because they haven't updated the laws. Like, oh, this doesn't fit anywhere, therefore, you know, it looks like what it is. Because, friends, what the governments can do is they can always say, well, if you tell them this, what they'll go back and they'll rewrite the laws and they'll say, oh, if you send your money to a sequencer or anything like it that burns a token and wraps a mintable token, and it has the same value in the next N days, and being like, oh, in the next 5 days, then that's considered a taxable event. But there's this loophole. They have to go out of their way to close, but they don't even know this loophole exists. That's why, friends, it helps when you love sandwiches. So now I'm going to put on my top hat, okay? By the way, man, I really hate top hats. When I see a guy in a top hat, I want to knock him out. I don't know why. I just want to knock him out. I'm not a violent person, friends. Not even like Spoonie knock him out. Not even like with a giant lollipop. Like I just want to tackle him. I just want to so it's just, I don't know what it is, man. It's just, but let's continue, right? So, all right. So, NineIronCapital, a gated EVM compatible layer 2 seems much safer. So, remember, PulseChain, right? Richard Hart, ominous, strange words. He can transfer value without actually making it into a taxable event. So it leads us all to speculate. What does that mean? Does that mean you have the value here? You know, you burn it away somewhere? Because that's one of the ways, just to let you know, just the concept of this stuff. Because he actually, friends, HEX, the better Bitcoin, right? He built HEX like this. You know when you stake, you know what happens? When you stake HEX, it burns itself. So your stake, your HEX, so if you try to stake 100,000 HEX, it turns it into 0 HEX. Okay, it literally turns into 0. You receive nothing. So there's nothing to tax. You know, so it's effectively like, hey, on the transaction thing, bro, it's literally, see, it got burned away. Then when you go claim it, you get more tokens back. That's only after you claim it, though. Yeah. So that's why if you did a 3-year stake on the chain, HEX is gone out of your wallet. Okay. He built. See, just to so you know, friends, he builds this stuff like that. He goes, with crypto, that's why crypto is so powerful. You can do something where you can literally send it to zero, right? And then you receive like some mathematical code somewhere. So, and then the government's like whack-a-mole. Governments might be like, oh, if you receive another token, that token's taxed. And they go, okay, you don't receive a token. Let's make it like a mathematical code. They go, oh, if you receive the code, that's taxable. Yeah, but the code doesn't have liquidity. Right? So, and by the way, how can you even prove it? You see what I mean? So there's all these whack-a-mole holes. So he thinks about stuff like this, okay? So NineIronCapital, once again, saying a gated EVM compatible layer 2 seems much safer. So there's been confirmed now from NineIron and like, you know, the whisperers of the Lord, so the PulseChain Pioneers. By the way, if you want to know, friends, I made the term PulseChain Pioneers, okay? Because after Richard said, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me, quack, 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 quack. After he said that, I was saying, okay, it's not Richard, PulseChain Pioneers. People got really, really upset they even say Richard Hart's name. So I made the term PulseChain Pioneers because the word pioneers, because that's what was happening on chain, right? It was actually before, I think, the collapse as well. It was happening on chain. There's all these things that are being built and they're all pointing to pDAI that ends with a contract address 1DOF, 1 for $1, D for dong, 0 for 0 amounts of soy, and F for friendship. 1D0F. pDAI, right? That's why there were other people saying, oh, he'll just go make another stablecoin. And like, oh no, it's not pDAI, it's another stablecoin. Bro, do you understand? Look, I've just got to show you this, okay? There are all these connections being made on the actual chain. All these protocols being hooked up, and they're all pointing to the pDAI contract address, right? Like I've made a lot of the pictures here to show, you know, pmaker, pcompound, pcurve, prv, all of these. And then there's more, all these stuff just being built, all pointing to that pDAI contract address. So one of the new things we've also seen is there's now been talks of there's like a PulseChain fork, there's Optimism, Arbitrum, like they're making layer 2s, which are like the PulseChain fork of them. Like we have our own layer 2s. All right. Now, NineIron says you engineer a one-way flow of assets in while upgrading the code to prevent assets from ever flowing out. And then you allow a non-redeemable ownership, shares, pDAI, to be traded externally to the layer 2. You borrow and lend from the layer 2 assets. No selling. Right. Okay. I think what they're suggesting is if you go and you bridge through, okay, it doesn't like give you a token. It creates a loan for you. Because just so you know, friends, right, this is how the wealthy keep getting wealthy. They don't sell their assets. You know, there's a lot of like, there's a lot of 15-second TikTok brain rot generation kids who are on Solana getting rugged, and just a lot of losers and just people who are copers and never going to make it, right? Blue pill cucks are just like poor mentality mindset people. They're scarcity mindset people. That's unfortunately default population, right? They don't understand how the game works. Rich people, they don't sell their assets. They borrow on them. Okay, borrowing is a non-taxable event. That's what everybody who earns Bitcoin, you know, like when you look at Plan B or like any of these other big KOLs that have had Bitcoin, you know, for a long time, they're living off it. So let's say they have $5 million of Bitcoin. Yeah, what they'll do is they will put, they'll take 1 million out, they'll put it to a protocol, and they'll borrow $100,000 on it. That's what they'll do. They'll borrow $100,000 and they'll use that to live for like 2 years. Maybe they need $50,000 a year to live, right? And then let's say they run out of money, they borrow a bit more. But they hope over time, Bitcoin appreciates. That's actually what happens over time. That's how the wealthy get wealthier. They borrow on their stocks, right? Less so they borrow on their real estate. Okay, they borrow, like they buy a hotel, they buy this big real estate, they'll borrow on it. But you need an income paying it off. You do. The thing is, that's why you hope Bitcoin grows up big enough that it more than makes up for it. So you don't have to sell that much. Okay, that's pretty much the game. So that's the concept. So if you borrow on something, it's not taxable because it's a debt now. Someone's giving you money. All right. So that's, I guess, Richard's. Or whoever it is, I just don't want to upset. It could be anybody, I wonder who it is. Guys. It could be anybody doing this. Who's doing this magic? Anyway, we know it's Richard. Okay, we're not stupid. It could be anybody. Right? Are you that stupid? No one wants to touch us, friends. We are literally radioactive nuclear waste. The only KOL in crypto, Ivan doesn't even want to touch us. Okay, he just shouts us out from across like the island. He's on another island. He goes, "Hey, PulseChain. That's all he does. He waves to us. Other KOLs don't even look at us. And you really think someone's been spending 2 years to do this shit? No, Richard. I wonder who it is. You know what I mean, man? I get it, bro. People will believe when the price is really, really high, and they're like, "Oh, what a magic trick! Anyway, look, he's found out a way where, I guess you go through the bridge, somehow mechanically, it will like loan you money. It's kind of genius, by the way. It actually is genius. This guy. I'm so glad Richard Hart's not a lawyer. What a waste of talent that would be. Oh my God. Imagine he was a lawyer just making loopholes, charging people like 10 grand a minute. You and I, he would never be able to do this for the world. So he's literally gone like, hey, so you're telling me a loan is non-taxable? Okay, cool. Okay, so when you go through this bridge, you go through, the asset sits somewhere, and then you get a loan from the bridge. It's genius, man. It's genius. That's why, friends, the naming of things is important. It's not a bridge token. It's a loan. You took out a loan, Mr. Government. It's true, though. It's true. Oh, man, it's good. It's good. See, friends, this is why it's important when you're backing like a billionaire who's like forward thinking. You can't get this anywhere else. You know what I mean? You just can't. So we're starting to see the concept here. Now, conceptually, I'm right. I just don't know the specifics, yeah? That's why Nine he says, you allow non-redeemable ownership shares to be traded externally to the Layer 2. You borrow and lend from the Layer 2 assets. There are no selling. So it's actually cool. Okay, now I guess we're seeing it now. So you go through the bridge. It's meant, that's why the government say, oh, I want all the tax. Because I think, that's why, friends, the government does this. Why do they have it? One, they're all backwards. Like, they don't know what law to do. Like, they've never seen anything like this before. No one has. So they go, okay, let's just tax them everywhere because this thing's new and it might just go to zero. So we may as well make all our money from it, right? But obviously the government's been getting it wrong and we've been surviving too long for them. Now they have to update the laws and go, okay, like, what is this and what is that? So Richard Hart's so forward thinking. He goes, oh, so you let rich whales, actually the insiders who write the laws, they don't get taxed on a loan. Okay, cool. That token you're receiving, it's a loan. You borrow it from here. Such a genius idea, man. Oh, man, it's actually good. It's good. So now you get to see the power, friends. You're moving assets. How are you moving it? You know, you're renaming the words. You know, they're like, you're borrowing tokens from somewhere and it's a redeemable share. It's a borrowing and lending platform thing. Okay. If you didn't have that, it'll be a taxable event. Okay. Because you're technically, that's what the governments try to do now. They try to say, oh, no. Any move you do is a sell. Everything's a buy and a sell. Everything you do is a sell. Because this government, they don't understand. It's like all the governments around the world just telling you, you're not going to win, guys. You have to update your laws. Do you understand? Do you understand how many boating accidents you're going to have in the next 24 months? Do you understand how many people are going to move to Dubai and go claim their income over there? You're going to miss out on millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars and everyone's going to do it. So, you know, you got to catch up with the times. I have a post here, friends, from Mr. Durty Crypto. It's come up. PulseChain, NineIronCapital's pDAI alpha overloaded. Could the origin address bags and the 166,000 ETH collateralize pDAI in a locked PulseChain treasury, giving pDAI holders indirect ownership of the layer 2 assets without ever allowing redemption or selling? Very interesting to read this, because that's exactly what we're talking about, because you just did this, friends. I've spoken to you, and literally like 2 minutes ago, he's made this post. Let's give a sniff of the fluffy microphone one more time. Friends, I know a lot of this, it goes over your head, but just like, I hope you're starting to see, we're losing the language now, right? So governments, right? Buying and selling, they want the tax. They want the tax. It basically complicates everything. It's where we have to be ahead of them. So I guess we're creating a system now to go, no, there's no buying and selling here, bro. It's borrowing and lending. Borrowing and lending, baby. Right? Friends, it would be like, this is the power of smart contracts. If you've got $1,000 in your hand and I have this fluffy microphone, okay? And it's like, I don't sell you the fluffy microphone. I lend it to you. All right? I lend you the fluffy microphone and then I borrow your $1,000. And what we can do, that's hey, rules are rules, baby. You see what I mean, man? So this is why, Richard, I guess now we're figuring out together why he doesn't go out in 2022 and just type this out. Struck everybody, by the way. They'll just steal our idea. Yeah, so we're going to be the winners. They can go suck a fat one. They can go join the Bitcoin Treasury sexually confused stockholders. You know what I mean? Friends, how many times have I told you, okay? Altcoins are the infrastructure of Bitcoin. All right? So, Mr. Dirty Crypto, potential ownership of that layer 2's assets by the pDAI holders. Very interesting. So you can, So it might be some sort of mechanism where, now I don't know if it's going to be pDAI or all the cores, maybe Pulse and PulseX and HEX, where technically, so it's technically, okay, technically you are lending out your core coins and then you're borrowing a part of the ETH to access it. Very interesting, you know? That prevents the problem of selling the Ethereum to make a taxable event and then moving the money in, okay? I think so, I think. So here we have, oh wait, so we have a big post from NineIronCapital, okay? Let's read it slowly. Mr. Nine, if he moves the origin address bags into the layer 2 chain, it becomes a PulseChain Treasury company. Wow, so this is exactly what we've been guessing, okay? Well, from what we just said. So that's good, we're on the right path. So he goes, if he moves the OA bags into the layer 2, it becomes a PulseChain Treasury company, okay? And then he says, it never sells. It just holds. pDAI will be the traded shares that own the treasury. I am assuming there is a lot of pDAI that moves into the treasury as well. The company can then trade its assets to maintain the peg, which will be collateralized by the treasury. No dilution, no selling. It's an asset-backed share of a treasury. You can all suck a fat one, friends. This is, see, you know that saying really is true, friends. Like geniuses, because they're the hitting targets you and I can't conceive of, right? You and I, friends, what are we doing? We're like saying, Mr. Market, can you please spare a green candle for someone? That's what we're saying, you know what I mean? So next thing, 99 continues. In short, PulseChain is the only layer 1 that could put together a digital asset treasury and use its shares, pDAI, to maintain a truly decentralized asset-backed stablecoin. So let's actually go through it again. He goes, PulseChain would be the only layer 1 that now has a treasury and it could use the shares, it's the claim on them, to manage it. The peg. The ping pong. We're pinging, friends. We're pinging from 99 cents and then we're ponging to $1.01 and then we're pinging to 99 cents. right? Look at this next one. Never forget the amount of work Richard Hart did on the Grayscale trust. How is managed to offer shares in an asset that could never be used to dump the price? Hex, Pulse, PulseX, ETH, and BTC could all be used in a PulseChain trust. A layer 2 would be perfect for this. Oh, I see it. I think I know what he's doing now. I don't think he's selling his coins. I think... Sorry, I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. Could be anybody. Could be anybody. Could be Dr. Hexologist. Could be Matty Allen. Okay. Could be Moose. Could be Dr. Pegger. Okay. It could be Sam. It could be... I'm going through everyone in my Telegram as well. Mr. Cocky Investor. Mate, friends, just come to my Telegram. We got the best usernames, by the way. The best, most random avatars. Mr. Slugcoin. It's probably Mr. Slugcoin. Okay? It could be Mr. Slugcoin, who's thought of all these. So he's not going to sell the assets. He's making a protocol that accepts his assets, and then, so he lends it there, and then he's going to use that, I guess, to borrow out the ETH. Maybe conceptually that's something how it works. Interesting. Very interesting. More commentary from NineIron. There are multiple new Pioneer addresses that are beavering away. They have also reconnected with a few of the older ones that I suspected were always linked. My focus remains on the Layer 2. Bro, where'd this come from, bro? Layer 2. Friends, I've been covering literally pDAI every single day. No one has spoken about a Layer 2 for PulseChain. Now it's like Layer 2, Layer 2, Layer 2, Layer 2. So I'm telling you, man, there's some deep. There's a labyrinth of puzzle work and PulseChain pioneering, and like, you know, belly buttons are being fondled. And, you know what I mean? Like, there's stuff going on here. Okay, go on, man. You don't understand, man. This is the funny part. Sidelined copers. Okay, well, why am I saying sidelined copers? Because man, I feel sorry for this. If when this thing's at 3 cents and it breaks the all-time high, I'm not gonna feel like anything but euphoria. But then when finally the euphoria wears off in about 16 seconds, I'll be like, oh my gosh, they had a dude make literally 500 videos, thousands of posts every day. They still wouldn't touch it. Oh, well, that's the good thing about buying a unicorn, by the way, because if you're actually buying a unicorn, you can afford, like, even pDAI at 10 cents, you still got a 10x to a dollar, bro. You know what I mean? Like, if you're buying Bitcoin here at like 113K, like, you better pray it goes to 200. So NineIron continues. My focus always remains on the Layer 2s. Only Richard Hart can create a network treasury. So I continue to follow the node operators to see if there's anything happening. Visibility remains opaque. NineIron, the peg party is going to be fun. Looking forward to meeting you all. Something in the universe is telling me if we do get to the prophecy pegs, the ping pong one bullard, NineIronCapital deletes his Twitter, he deletes his Telegram, he just disappears. Okay, or it just leaves. No one's ever seen him since. He just fully goes. I got a feeling like that. And he says, and he might just say, maybe I'll be around at one of the events or something. Interesting. So this was the tweet I've just been reading, friends. So yeah, it's big. So friends, I'm just seeing Mr. Dirty Crypto's comments as well. And there's people, people talking about, what does this mean? So hopefully you all watch the videos. Shout out to, Mr. Schizoteric, Mr. Electronics Guru, and everyone out here. I know all the comments. Hopefully after watching this, it all makes more sense. Let's check this comment. So there's been another immediate update as well. So NineIronCapital. If the origin address bags move into the Layer 2, it becomes a PulseChain digital asset treasury company, pDAT. Dat Ass. Pump that ass. Okay. Its asset value will be reflected in the price of pDAI. which will be the traded shares that own the Treasury company. Okay, I like how, as I'm exploring this with you, my initial guess at the beginning of the video, it seems to be correct. Where there's no buying and selling. It's you're lending something out, and that's letting you borrow from something else. Note the term lending and borrowing. There's no taxable event there. That's what rich people do. That's how insiders, they just don't pay taxes over time. They just keep borrowing on their money. That's why, friends, friends, just to let you know, okay, I'll give you an example. There are insider scum banksters, a Goldman Slugs, JP Mosquito. How they launder money through the art industry is they'll buy art, okay? So they'll buy a painting, for example, okay? They'll buy a painting. Let's say it's literally me. Let's say, friends, I take the sloppiest, smelliest poop on a piece of paper, and the artwork's just called Sommi's poop, and then someone buys it, okay? What they try to do is they pay like an art valuer, and they will try to go, well, you know, Sommi, you know, he took this poop when he had, you know, like say 35,000 followers, and now he's got 100,000 on YouTube. So how much did you pay for this poop? $6. Okay, it's actually worth 6 million now. You know what I mean? That's what the appraiser does. Well, it's worth 6 million, so you can pay the appraisers off because they just value it up. Then they have friends at the banks, and the banks will go, oh, we give loans out. And you go, how much are your assets worth? So you show them your book, right? And they go, oh, I own Sommi's poop. He took a big fat deuce on this piece of paper, okay, which is fancy, you know, it's pretty much synonymous with just art, you know what I mean? The art industry. So Sommi's poop is actually worth $6 million. So they go, oh, you're actually worth 6 million? Well, you're eligible for a loan of up to 2 million. Yeah? So now you can access $2 million of borrowing. Okay, so what you can do is, I guess, if they can give you a good interest rate, you can go borrow that 2 million, and then you can, I guess you can, you know, do whatever they need to do. Maybe they need to buy in a deal or get a higher growth fund. Now, remember, you've got to beat the interest rate. That's why it's free money. I guess if you can just buy Bitcoin for long term, you just got to cover the interest rate payments. That's what Defense is effectively what kind of Michael Saylor's doing, or anyone else is doing, right? They're just borrowing US dollar. Because, you know, how much do you have to pay? Like, you know, whatever, 7% per year. Yeah, but Bitcoin has been growing at 67% per year. Okay, so you just got to cover your interest repayments for like 4 years. It's basically free money to print. Do you see what I mean? How that's that borrowing and lending, that valuation stuff, it helps, but it's all subjective. So all the scamming all comes in the how much is this stuff really valued, right? But with this, we can't do that because we can't just come and tell somebody, oh, our, you know, this asset is worth this much. No, there's a price here. That's why it's holding Ethereum. You can just check the market price. And so you're starting to see a bit of how the scam world works with the banks, okay? But we can't do any of that because you can't be guessing. You can't just tell everyone, oh, this thing's actually worth $1. There's a traded price and everything out here, right? We have to make these things work through the smart contracts and the liquidity pairs. So he continues, right? The origin address pDAI bag will also be part of the Treasury. The company can trade its assets to maintain an asset peg. So they can buy pDAI when it's trading below net asset value, or they can buy HEX, Pulse, and PulseX when pDAI is above the NAV. It is the first of its kind on chain. pDAI to $1 is inevitable. My gosh, if this works out. See, remember I told you, when you're buying a unicorn, if you have any whiff that it's a unicorn, it's worth a punt of something. Okay, all right, maybe it's 10 cents to you or $1 to some people. Just have a look at it, man, because you've never seen anything like it before. Okay, because like, you know, friends, if you just keep buying stuff you haven't seen before, you know, so you never bet more than you can afford to lose, right? If you just keep buying stuff you've never seen before, in crypto, it rewards you tremendous because eventually you hit something that just keeps running. And even if it's safe moon where it just doesn't end up being anything like, you know, long-term valuable, it doesn't matter. It goes up like 1,800x anyway. So this has been, I can see it now. I can see it. Very interesting. Now, of course, you might say, but Sommi, now that you've said this, shouldn't pDAI flash to like 50 cents now? No. Nope. The market, that friends, okay, I gotta get my nipple pegs out, okay? I gotta get my nipple pegs out. I gotta teach you something, okay? I've said this to you many times. I'll say it for you again. The market's not stupid, okay? It's not stupid. We're not going to, so people think, right, they go, oh, I'm just going to sell at 10 cents. Yeah, friends, I said that too. I'll go, oh yeah, let's just take profit at 10 cents. That'll be great. Look, man, I'm going to tell you this right now. I've got no insider info, but I'll tell you this right now. If pDAI gets to 10 cents, it's not going to be an accident. There are going to be steps which have progressed, okay? And it's not just Richard coming out, tweaking his nipples and saying, I believe in pegs. It won't be that, okay? It'll be, hey, who's got that $1 billion of money there? And he just bridged $1,000 over to PulseChain. Who is that wallet? Do you see what I mean? Like, there will be signs around the outskirts of Ethereum and PulseChain. There will be more moves. There will be, say, Better Bank's TVL going up. There will be more Liberty Swap Finance upgrades. Like, something is going to push us up there along the way. And it's going to make you think, wait a minute, it's going to $1. Do you know what I mean? It's not going. You're not going to hit 10 cents and go, oh, what, everybody's stupid. Ha ha. There's going to be a progression of news that's up there. A perfect example, friends. Look at Bitcoin right now. Remember when Bitcoin was 15,000 in November 2022? Yeah. Do you remember that? Well, now we're at 100 and over 100,000. You already have a Bitcoin ETF and stuff out here, right? Do you want to sell? Why not? Why don't you want to sell? You're like, oh, there's an ETF. Governments are buying. They're putting stuff on the treasuries. There you go. Point proven. Okay. You don't want to sell because like it's giving you reason. Like, wait a minute, but we're not done yet. We're just at around 100K. Exactly. Bitcoin just didn't go from 15K to 100K just like that. There was a Bitcoin ETF. There's Bitcoin asset treasuries. Michael Saylor keeps turbo buying. Countries are adopting it. Donald Trump buys it. He wants it to go up. Do you see what I mean? There's bullish news that comes along the way. So what happens is as the news comes out, friends, the market's pricing in the probability of it going up because it's future looking. So that's why right now, friends, pDAI is at 0.5% chance of going to $1. Okay, if it got to 10 cents, friends, there'll be literally everyone going, oh my gosh, there's a 10% chance it can actually peg. They'll actually be saying that. Right now they're saying, oh, less than 1%, but that's what the market will do if we got there. Okay, so there's no free lunch. You get it? This will be great though if it works out, because it would be the most perfect believers cycle where everyone says, oh, we had no idea what the hell the guy was doing, or the pioneer had no idea what they were doing, bro. We just literally sat and believed and pegged. We just literally pegged our own nipples and just waited every day. That'd be funny. So let me know what you think about that, friends. I hope like just it's a quick summary here for you. So non-taxable events involve borrowing and lending. All right. So having a PulseChain Layer 2, I guess, involves something like that, where, you know, you're putting coins in one place and then you borrow an ownership of something else. That's a non-taxable event, okay? Now, the thing is, a protocol can let you borrow anything it chooses, right? You know, like a bank, friends, they don't do this, but they could do this. If you put $1,000 into a bank account, the bank could let you borrow $1 million. They could do that, but they don't. Why? Because they run out of money. Okay. But if you put $1,000 in, you know, so that they could let you do that. But with if you have a goal here of transferring value, you could just set that up. That's exactly what seems to be happening here. We don't have all the buttons pressed out because obviously it's never been done before. We'll see though. What do you think, friends? You excited like I am? I'm excited. I get it. Most people don't understand what the hell is going on. Look, man, I know why you don't understand what's going on. It's because the price isn't high enough, okay? Trust me. When it's at 10 cents, you're going to be thinking about this a bit differently. Because you know, but like this is the thing, man. You got to live with yourself knowing that your friend Sommi here, friends, you know this line? Let's read. Look what it says here. 1,000x to $1, okay? 1,000x to $1 every day, multiple times a day. Bang, 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 cheap. And no one was saying, oh, it's expensive down there. No one. So you have to live with yourself at 10x to $1. Do you know what I mean? And guess what? You're lucky. You're lucky. You should be grateful for that. You should be grateful. Imagine being able to buy Bitcoin here at 100K and you're still going to get your million. Imagine it actually works out. You're not going to get your million this cycle, okay? So that's why buying a first cycle unicorn, totally risky. Could go to zero and not work. But if it does work, there's friendship on the horizon. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.